So have I got a Lucas? Do we have a Lucas?
There we go.
Oh, every
there we
time,
go.
mate. Every time. We're so good at this.
Well, it was just I was busy pausing my Spotify. Like, no.
That's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do. So, welcome to episode 71,
72.
72, 70 something. Definitely, it's definitely an episode of like something of the podcast that we do. And I'm not sure which one. And I guess as always, we are not as always, but as usual. Recently, we are recording this live on Twitch
We are
for our visual, not listeners, I say listeners, and viewers.
visual listeners.
Visual-
When I've been listening to podcasts, I've noticed they use the term visual listeners.
Okay, visual listeners. I'm in a slightly different location because I had a mare with my PC. Audio listeners, the audio may be a bit different because I'm no longer recording in my office, which is soundproof to a degree. I am recording in my front room, which obviously living area, not designed for recording in it, or it's not been properly soundproofed, so maybe a little bit echoey. But hopefully Lucas can sort that out. Edit.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Like known audio engineer over here, Lucas. Yes.
Hey man, you live and learn. You live and learn. But fucking hell, yeah, I've had a mare today, so I guess we can get right into that.
We can.
I'm on my girlfriend's PC.
Oh, no.
The thing is, it's not even her PC; it's my PC from the office. But we can't go to the office because of lockdown.
Yeah.
So I brought my PC home from the office and put it in the front room. My girlfriend used it to edit on, and then I have my PC that's brand new that I bought at the start of lockdown last year. And just for some reason, it never works. Every time I try and render something, I get a blue screen of death. And today,
and like you've constantly had issues with it. Where like, oh no, it whoopsied again. Give me a few minutes, or like my Elgato's kicking off, or whatever it is. But yeah, you just said today it's just been like not doing anything.
I looked at it and went, today I'm gonna fucking fix this. And I got one too many blue screens of death. And I am not the most computer literate person, admittedly. But I do know how to follow instructions.
Yeah.
And I'm not an aggressive person, per se. But I'll tell you something now. Something that absolutely fucking sent me, turns me into a raging arsehole, is when a computer tells me you need permission to do this from administration. It's like, bitch, I own you. You don't tell me I'm not got administrative fucking rights. I own this.
I'm the owner.
I own this fucking shit, yeah. And I went through a number of solutions. The first one was, maybe it's dusty inside. Well, this PC's newer than my old one, and my old one isn't covered in dust, but whatever. So I pull it out and go, oh shit, there is a lot of dust in here. And I unscrew all the components, the case. I take the case apart. I take the fan out. I clean everything inside. There's a lot of dust. I think maybe that'll fix it. So I've dusted it out and I've cleaned everything out. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to move my entire desk around. Normally it's pressed against the wall behind my desk.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why it's getting dusty. That's why it's overheating. Maybe it's overheating and that's why. Because it's against the wall behind the desk. Now it's on my PC on the desk. My PC is on the desk. Nice and open. Lots of space, lots of air. Lots of room for like filtration, that sort of thing. Go and render that video. Blue screen of death. Reset again. Okay, what's another solution that I can do? Okay, another solution you can do is update all your drivers. Which ones? These ones. Go have a look. These drivers are all up to date. Okay, then. What about my graphics card? Is the drivers up to date? No, they weren't. Let's update those. Okay, that's done. Reset my computer again. Try and render that file. Blue screen of death. Okay, now I'm starting to get pissed off. Because this has happened like 3-4 times already. Okay, what's the next thing? The next thing I can do? Uninstall and reinstall all of your software. Yeah, I'll do all that. Oh God. I got Vegas last year for a different computer. Where's my serial number?
Oh, no.
Okay, so I've got to dredge through that took me like 20-30 minutes of dredging through emails to find the serial number that works. Okay, I've got it reinstalled. It saves all my settings. Put it back up. Blue screen of death. But this time I get a different thing at the bottom. I'll look at that. Just do the classic. You type it into Google. What does it advise me to do? Go open up command prompts. Run as an administrator. Oh, this can be fun. And do this. I don't know what it is, but it says press these 3 buttons and it'll scan. I don't know what it scans, but it says basically it goes through and it just fixes anything that can be fixed. I do that, and as of 20 minutes ago, it's still got 5 hours to go. And I'm not sure what it's doing, but I think
It's scanning.
It's scanning. It's scanning something, and it's scanning a lot. And I don't know what it is that it needs to do, because the computer that I have here is 3 years older than the one I use in my office, the new one. It has basically the exact same software. It's from the same company. It's a PC Specialist. It's just, from what I can tell, the next step up in terms of the components inside. And every time I try and render something, I get a blue screen.
Yeah, that's not good. Especially when you're rendering multiple videos a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was just really frustrating for me. And I'm keenly aware that there are people out there probably cringing listening to this of like my lack of knowledge or my inability to explain. For those people, don't give me any advice. I don't care. Any advice you're going to give me is going to be a retelling of the advice I got from the forums when I was Googling these issues, or it's going to be completely unhelpful or something that I tried.
Yeah.
Because Joe, when you get stuff like that, and you always get the most base level advice given to you, people presenting it as if it's like sage wisdom you should be like thanking them for. Well, did you try? Yeah.
Before you tried like something basic like updating your drivers? And you're like, yes, of course.
It's the first thing that I tried doing.
Yeah. When people are saying it, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of these words, Carl, but there's these thing called drivers.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
Sort your drivers out.
Yeah, I don't know what they do, but I do know that you update them if you've got problems. So I've tried all that stuff. So please don't send me messages or emails and say, have you tried this? The answer is yes, I have. That's why I'm currently sat here as my PC is in like hour 5 of like a full fucking system and like deep level scan out what the fuck it's doing.
Yeah, like the system diagnostics, and it's like, oh god. I had that happen, like, that's the only time I'm about to use it is when a long time ago, you're talking like 10 years ago now, like my laptop that I had for university absolutely just died on me. It wouldn't display anything properly. And just, it had a rough time altogether. And basically, I had to like go into the BIOS and like do X, Y, Z, and then I ended up having to install like Linux through the BIOS settings and all it. I took it to the like a repair shop eventually, and with it being a laptop, obviously I didn't like open it up. It's all concealed and in just one big block. And basically, like I ended up having a melted motherboard, and the guy was, I don't even know how you got something installed to be able to display anything on this. He's like, you've done a good job, but it's completely fucked. The motherboard is just melted. I was like, well, at least I gave it a good shot. I tried my fucking best.
I'm hoping that's not what's happened with mine, because, like I said, the PC's less than a year old.
I would doubt it with it being like a tower, because obviously it's got a lot more room to breathe. And I've seen what that tower looks like. It's got a lot of fucking empty space in there, so I doubt like anything's melting and overheating.
Yeah, and like there's so much space in there that I just put in a figurine of Vegeta, just because it's got a glass case on the side, so it looks like a display case. And I guarantee you that at some point I'm going to get a message in regards to that photo of someone giving me shit for not having as good a PC as them.
Where's the RGB, Karl?
It has got some on the front, but I deliberately said, well, it's cheaper to get a case that doesn't have that on it.
Yeah, well, I helped you build it, and I was like, on the PC Specialist website, like, oh, what options do you want for the case? Just make it black. Just don't put any of that shit on it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it is. I use it for work.
Yeah.
And now it's got Vegeta inside. But yeah, I checked everything, and I can't see any issues in there. Like, I opened up as much as I could and looked at things, and there's no cables out. There's nothing that's overly damaged. Or like that was out of place to what I would expect. And then I carefully put all the screws back on, and then just after I'd slowly cleaned it with a Q-tip and all that bollocks, the canned air.
I bought some of that in anticipation of my PC being really dusty. I opened it all up and was like, oh, everything's fine. I was like, okay.
Well, this one here, I've got the one next to me, is like a pure, perfect black like rectangle. Nothing gets in. The one I've got has got lots of fans and like vents and stuff on the side. It gets dusty as fuck.
Yeah, but, I mean, that might just be like the room it's in.
Yeah, I think it might be the room because it's behind a desk. And like my house is quite dusty because I live near a road. And it's one of those things, if we open our window to let some air in, you'll go into like the bedroom, you just go to the side, like, ugh.
Yeah,
One of them.
It's one of those things of you just got to do what you can, haven't you? Really,
You can. It's super rough. And it's really frustrating as well, especially when, just like I said, the thing that comes up is whoopsie doopsie, something went wrong. It's like, well, tell me what went wrong. I was supposed to fucking fix it. That fucking blue screen that says whoopsie fucking doopsie, it's got like the fucking frowny face emoji. It pisses me off somewhat chronic, man.
Well, I mean, I've been having a slightly more successful time with technology than you have.
With you?
Well, not anything particularly like crazy or anything, but we over Christmas got like a little Amazon Alexa, one of like the small ones.
Oh yeah.
And basically we've just been using it to play musical podcasts in the kitchen, like
Mm-hmm.
while we cook, or Cade's crate is in there. So when he's, when we're working and we put him in there for like a couple of hours on his own to get some alone time, we play podcasts. And for the most part, we've just been like, well, there's this like My Dog's podcast thing, which has a few episodes and it's like meant to, relax your dog and stuff. But then I was like, well, he gets really antsy about not being able to like see or hear Jenna and I.
So
It's like, what if I just play this podcast to Cade so he can hear me? And he's been really settled.
There we go. Getting us those views, mate. Getting us those views.
And so it's just weird because I was like, Jenna, I've like started playing the Carl's Corner podcast for Cade. She's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was like, he just hears my voice then. I was like, well, yeah, just like using my podcast to like help my everyday life now. It's great.
It makes sense. This is also like there's the playthroughs on your channel with you and Jenna, and you can play those for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's obviously a lot easier to play Spotify through the Alexa thing, rather than like figuring out how to play YouTube for him. But yeah, it was just a nice moment of like, oh, he's settled down because he can hear one of us. That's nice.
My friend's got one of those. He set it up with custom commands because he was bored. He's broke up with his girlfriend and he's in lockdown, so he's just going stir crazy. So he's just like set up his Alexa to just do everything for him, and he can make it turn the kettle on. Like he bought all the because he's a dab hand when it comes to electronics. I wish I could go see him because he'd probably fix my fucking computer. But he set up his Alexa basically control stuff in his house. So he says, Alexa, put the kettle on, and the kettle turns on. And he'll say like, Alexa, party time, and then lights come on.
Yeah,
and it's like he's just got all these like custom commands like Alexa, sexy time, and the lights go down. It's like, oh, that's the fucking way to do it, innit?
Well, when we got one, Jenna was a bit like, oh yeah, like I kind of want one, and it sounds like pretty useful. And then I settled like this smart light in here, which in other podcasts I've like had on, and you can put different colors on it and such. Like the moment I was like, yeah, so like the light is linked to the Alexa, and I can like turn on the office light or turn it off by walking into the kitchen and telling Alexa to do that. Jenna's like, yeah, we need to get more, and we need to just like commit. So that's the plan, is slowly over time, just keep getting smart appliances. So the idea of having like a full smart house, to me, I'm like, I don't care about my privacy. I've already lost that. My phone listens to me, whatever.
Mate, you're on YouTube.
Like give me a fucking house that I can control via my voice.
Yeah, you're on YouTube. You have no privacy. Like, we go into this because we're recording this visually. Like, people can watch like the video archives on my channel, your YouTube channel. Prior to recording this, I had to specifically move around stuff in my house to try and limit the amount of stuff people are able to see.
Yeah.
Because there's all those horror stories out there of people getting tracked down from YouTube based on stuff like reflections in eyeballs.
Yeah, and that's true.
So I've made sure I turn my light on as bright as possible, and I've got one of the Fiend lights over there, so that you can't see out the window and see the skyline, which I've heard is a thing people can do.
Yeah, and like it's just, oh god, people need to get a life.
Yeah, so my privacy is already forfeit anyway. So
yeah, and I'm fully on board with just like, you know what, Amazon and Google know everything they need to ever know about me. If I'm honestly trying to stop them listening to like the one conversation I have that I don't have around my phone, because obviously my phone's always with me anyway. Like, yeah, it's just for the sake of convenience. Like, I've basically already lost all my privacy. I might as well just commit to it.
Like, mate, you put your life online, out of your job, you've got no chance.
Yeah,
you've got no fucking job. But I don't like the way my mate's done it. He's like, Alexa, put the kettle on. And just the joke he made is like, my missus never made me a cup. Alexa's not let me down yet. But he just says the joke he's making is one day Alexa's gonna like make it yourself, you lazy twat, and he's like, oh no.
Well, I kept saying please and thank you to Alexa, and Jenna's like, why are you thanking it? I'm like, well, I want to be polite. Like, Alexa's doing shit for us. We should be polite to Alexa. Like, you
It,
got to remember your manners.
it's one of those things. It's just a barometer of how well someone was raised. I saw this just amazing breakdown of this, and I'm probably going to like butcher what the actual quote was, but they were talking about people leaving a trolley in a supermarket,
Hmm.
and they had this. There's this long, big diatribe they make about like this is the ultimate test of someone's humanity, because there is no reason to put the shopping trolley back beyond social obligation.
Hmm.
And then it's one of those situations where it's very simple, but there's no right or wrong. Like there's no argument about what's right or wrong. It is the right thing to do to take the trolley back.
Right, yeah.
However, there is no obligation to do so beyond like the social one.
Hmm.
So whilst it is the right thing to do to put the trolley back, there is nothing forcing you to put the trolley back. So
Of course, yeah.
people who don't put the trolley back are just failures of morality, because they prove that the only thing that makes them do the right thing is the threat of punishment. When that threat is removed, they will instinctively choose to do the wrong thing because it's easier for them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh man, there's so many little things like that.
That's true, yeah.
Saying please and thank you. Saying please and thank you, you don't really have to say please and thank you, but then have you ever met someone who doesn't?
Oh, yeah, it infuriates me.
Yeah. You don't have to say it. It doesn't
No.
change your life if you don't say it, but it does make other people feel better.
Just little things like when you go out your way to hold the door open for someone, like, I can't do anymore because I'm not allowed outside. But, in theory, in a world where I could still hold doors open for random strangers, when they walk through that door and don't acknowledge me at all, it's like, you fucking prick.
Like people who
I hate you now.
Like people who don't say thank you to taxi drivers and bus.
Yeah, like, depends on the taxi driver, because some of them have been proper assholes to me.
Oh man, I tell you a time I was in a taxi, and just Joe, when you're making conversation with a taxi driver when you had a couple on the way to town,
Yeah.
I just asked him, so what's the weirdest person you picked up? And the taxi driver was just, well, one time I was driving a guy and he looked really, really nervous. I mean, he looked nervous. So he was fidgeting in his chair, so I thought he was on something. And he was rocking backwards and forwards, and he was mumbling under his breath. And he was sat in the passenger seat back. And I turned to him and asked him, so what's up? The guy pulled out a knife and said, I'm going to stab some motherfucker when I get to where I'm going, or something to that effect. Then started talking about someone who'd give him a bunch of guff, how he was going to get there, and then immediately stab them. The taxi driver just talked to him for a couple of minutes, drove him to his location. He got out of the car, he called the police, and he drove off. And I asked him, "Oh, that was scary. Did you charge him?" He went, "Yeah, of course I charged him." He went, "You charged a guy with a knife who's saying, I'm going to stab someone the moment I get out his car?" Well, yeah, he didn't have a gun. It's just, what a fucking baller, that taxi. So I want my pay. Like, we didn't have a gun, did he? Like, he could stab me, but what? I wanted to get paid.
Christ, yeah, like, at the end of the day, the guy clearly had a target.
He did, yeah, but that takes some balls, doesn't it?
It does. Like, if there's a guy sitting in my car just with a knife in hand, like, I'm gonna stab a motherfucker, I wouldn't turn around and be like, yeah, that'll be a tenner, mate.
Yeah, that'll be $8.50. I think as well, they said the guy gave him a tip.
Oh, fucking hell.
He said he was like £7, he gave him a tenner and just got straight out of the car. And he just called the police and drove off.
Yeah.
And then I remember
yeah, in any situation like that, you do not play like the hero at all.
Not worth it.
You 100% just let them get out, get to the destination, and then you do something about it, like call the cops.
Yeah, unless someone's life is in immediate danger, like don't step in. And that reminds me of another great taxi story I saw. Cause, I used to work nights. I used to walk home at about like 3 or 4 in the morning. Yeah. Usually it's dead. The only thing you'll see is other people walking home after nights out. And I remember once this was incredible. I saw a taxi pull up near a shop near where I used to live. And you see taxis pulling in because it's near a bunch of houses, student flats, and it had a cash point outside. So you get students pulling up, go to that cash point to pay the taxi driver. And I saw a bunch of girls get out of this cab and then just leg it. But this was a bunch of drunk girls at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they ran in high heels, and they got like 8 foot, and the taxi driver just went, "Wow," pulled up and went, "What are you doing?" And the girls just went leg it and ran again. And then one of them, I saw their heel snap, and they fell over and hurt themselves. And I saw it, like the taxi driver, like we locked eyes, and he looked at me, and he just went, and nodded really slowly. And the girls were like, "You need to drive her to the hospital," and he just drove off. It's like, call a cab. And he just drove off. And that girl's obviously she wasn't that badly hurt. She's just drunk, so she's screaming and making a big thing out of it. It's
Yeah.
like, she's clearly not broke a leg or anything. She fell like 4 foot off.
Yeah, I'm sure like if she'd like cut her artery open and there was blood everywhere,
No.
he wouldn't have just looked at you and drove away.
No, it was like she's in high heels and she's like done that drunken fall over where it's like, oh, but then obviously it's the biggest thing in the world. She's screaming, and the guy just drove off. And I just looked, and I thought, I've got absolutely no time for this. I'm just gonna walk. I'm going home. I'm not dealing with this.
God, I do remember one time when it was like I got in a cab and I called them up, and I very rarely have any cash on me at this point in life. And I just called them up and was like, "Look, I need a cab to go back home or whatever. I need one with contactless payment. Don't have cash. Yeah, that's fine. We'll send one of those out." Get in. Halfway there. "Oh, so you do have cash on you, mate, don't you?" It's like, what? No, I asked for one that I can pay with card. They told me that someone, well, I don't have a card machine. It's not working. All right, then. Well, if you let me get to a cash point, I guess I'll go get some cash out. Well, no, I can't let you out the car. You'll just run away. I was just sat in the car like, then we're at an impasse. Like, what are you expecting me to do?
There's one of two options here. Either I get out and get money, or I have no money to pay you.
Yeah, eventually I talked him through the situation of I have literally zero cash. And if you have a card, like no card payment method, it's like, we have nowhere to go. This is not going to work. I need to get out the car. You need to watch me get cash out, and I will pay you the cash. And eventually, it took a good 5 minutes of the drive to convince him this was the only way it was going to go down. I was just like, what did you expect to happen? I've got no cash. All right, well, where's your cash, mate?
I ain't got any.
And he literally stopped right outside the cash point, was eyeing me up the entire time, and I was just casual about it. Like, of course I'm going to pay the guy.
Yeah.
But he was on edge so fucking hard, and you must know, like, from his side of the story, that there's plenty of people that must have done runners on him.
But at the same time, he's only doing that because you don't declare that on his income.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, like the only time a taxi driver says that I can only accept cash is because you don't want a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
But I just found that really funny. Just like the taxi driver just looks at me and just drove off. I just like, oh, it's like, oh no, we need to go to the hospital. It's like, oh, you know that taxi driver said a one-liner. I didn't hear it, but in my head he went, call a cab, and just boom, left.
Just gone.
Also, I want to give a shout out to the guy in my chat who said he could have pocket called the police. Like, tell you what, when you've got someone swinging a knife around in front of you, you pull out your phone and visibly dial the police next to them and tell me how it goes.
And also, like, how are they meant to know what's going on if they pocket dial it?
You know what I love about this? It's always, it's like when you say, oh, tell a story about getting mugged. As was, well, why didn't you just punch him? Because I was too busy being surprised I was being mugged.
Yeah.
I've been mugged twice, and each time I've told that story, someone go, well, that wouldn't have happened to me. I'd have fucking lamped him one. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I didn't, well, I got attempted mugged once, and I, without thinking, like, the moment he stopped me and was like, give me I started running. And then after the fact, I thought, why the fuck did I run? Like, the best thing to do in that situation is just give them what they want. Like, your cards can be cancelled, whatever, like, you can call the cops. Just when a guy comes out with like a fucking knife or some shit, do not attempt to hit them or run away. Just give them what they fucking want.
But then you'll get someone go, oh, I would. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
When's the last time you got mugged? Because it's the thing of most of the time, it's just a surprise.
Yeah.
There's a story told by a friend of mine when he was just walking down the street and someone snatched a phone out of his hand and legged it. And he said, like, I stood there for about 10 seconds before I realised what happened. Because you just don't expect your phone to fly out of your hand.
You see it all the time, don't you? Of like people just like fly-by muggins and drive-by muggins and stuff, of just literally running past someone, grabbing something and running. And most of the time, most people will just be like, shit, okay, what's going on? What happened? And
by the time
it takes a few seconds to process it, yeah.
And by that point, that person's already like 30, 40 yards away.
Yeah.
And there's and it's lost in the confusion. But again, when he told that, so I was like, oh, I'd have fucking ran him down and kicked the shit out of him. It's like, how would you have done that? Are you telling me you're like constantly on edge and were able to just like immediately know when someone and just track him down? You've got like that GTA minimap shit going on in your head.
God.
Also, can you send a text to the police? You can send a text to the police, but again, you try pulling your phone out when there's a fucking knife being waved around. This is what I don't get. You bring it up
Well,
to
and bear in mind, like, not only that, but most taxi drivers have their phone in front of them as like some sort of sat nav.
Yeah, basically.
So it's not even like he's pocket dialing. He would be dialing the police or texting the police like this right in front of the guy.
And this is
oh my God.
why like hindsight is 2020. It's like there's probably is a dozen things you could do in that situation. But at the time, it's just most people just freeze up. And props to that guy for not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do love though the weekend warriors who like insist that never happened to me. It's like Joe when you tell someone about getting burgled and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh man, if I got burgled, I'd fucking lamp the shit. So you wouldn't, because chances are, statistically, you wouldn't be in your house. You'd be away.
Like, people don't burgle houses when there's like 4 lights on and they go, oh shit, okay, well I'll go to that place. Is that's one advantage to the fact that Jenna and I are on such opposite schedules. Jenna and I is working by like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to bed at like 5 o'clock. So there's only about an hour or two that burglars even have a chance to come in when one of us isn't awake.
Then you got your guard dog Cade, he'll sort them out.
He fucking won't.
Cade will sort them out, something fierce, mate.
Oh God, he was dead edgy today though. I was like upstairs by like the front of my house, and heard girls walking past the house on the street having a normal conversation, and then like, Cade downstairs is like barking his head off. It's like, there's 2 fucking girls walking past Cade. Like, calm the fuck down.
They could be intruders.
They could be.
They could be assassins, Lucas, and you don't know it.
It's like they're not even within the boundaries of the house. They're like on the street.
They could be assassin. Like, you don't know what Cade's hearing picked up.
That's the thing.
That click clack of their heels hitting the pavement, that could be a knife. They'd be coming in. And in that vein, what have you ever encountered someone who keeps something in their house to protect themselves from burglars?
I mean, I do.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen someone who takes it really seriously? Like, I know a guy, he kept a claw hammer underneath his pillow.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, he kept a claw hammer underneath his pillow because he was like super, super paranoid. That's what break into his house.
God. And I've not met anyone like that.
But what we'd do is we'd always go into his room on like nights out and stuff, and take the claw hammer and replace it with like a loaf of bread or something, like those French sticks.
Yeah.
And he'd just come out like, "Where's my hammer?" It's like, mate, we're not trusting you drunk because one was going to go up and go for a piss. That's what happened. Like, someone, like, we all got back to his house drunk once, and someone went for a piss at like 3 a.m, and he kicked the door down with his hammer. And they were like, "What the fuck are you doing? I'm here." So he forgot that they were in the house.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It got to the point where every time like we had a night out, we would just take his hammer and replace it with something else as a joke.
God. Yeah, like, I mean, people might be able to see on stream, like, I have, this way, like a little sword there, but it's like just a wooden training sword, and I'm like, oh well, if I did need to hit someone with something, that would be the thing in my house. But like, it's not as if I'm sitting there with it like next to my bed, like waiting for someone to come in the house and twitching about. But yeah,
that's when you get that legendary video where it's like one of those home defense things that try to sell people, and it is a headboard that has a hidden compartment for a shotgun. What you do is you lean up and you press it, and then you grab a shotgun from behind your head and you pull it up. And so the idea is, if someone breaks into your house, you put your hands up, press the headboard, get a shotgun out, and then point it at the burglar and shoot them. And I just remember Frankie Boyle doing a bit on it. He goes, "Do you know what, though? I don't think there's anything that sums up America more than, for safety, keep a loaded shotgun next to your head when you're asleep." It's like, can you imagine anything more dangerous?
Yeah.
I love as well as the guy in chat who's like, "I've got a gun. I'm not worried about someone bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like, I'm worried that you exist because you are actively planning to murder someone and seemingly getting hard at the thought of someone challenging your masculinity."
Also, let's just point out that obviously it's just a practice thing, but Mythbusters did that myth
Oh,
of like
the Tula
the
Drill.
gun in a knife fight, and up until like the 30-foot mark,
You don't have a chance.
you've got no chance with a gun. Like the knife just fucking wins.
The Tula Drill was a legendary red letter media bit where they're watching a video called Practical Knife Defense or something like that, and they show the Tula Drill, and they get a guy and they pay him. Like, okay, just fucking go ham.
Yeah.
And they show like a police officer when like, full holster and everything like that with his hand on his fucking gun. And like you get to the point where it's like you've got like a tennis court of distance and the guy's still stabbing you before you have a chance to even get the fucking gun out. And it's like then you have people like there's a guy in chat like, oh, I would fucking shoot someone. You won't have a chance. The moment they saw the gun, you'd be gone.
Like, not only are you, having that time, it's also, the panic and the adrenaline of a guy like probably bum rushing you, like screaming with a knife, like, oh!
That's what I mean, that I'd recommend people go look down that. I think Surviving Edge Weapons. That's it. The red letter media bit on it because one, it's really funny, and two, just some of the bits that are in it, like it was used to actually teach the police this is what you do if you encounter a person with a gun. Oh, sorry, you encounter someone with a knife, and like they have a bit of like a guy whips out a machete and sprints at a police officer. So, what should you do in this situation? It's like get in your police car and drive away. Because he's got a fucking machete and you're not gonna just drive away. Just drive away.
And people seem to like have a weird belief that a gun is the be all and end all, but a gun is a ranged weapon at the end of the day. Like
this guy
if you
says
are
he was
close quarters, the gun might not win.
There's this guy who says that he was in the army, but the Tula Drill was invented in the army. Presumably it was. It was either SWAT or army that does it, but like it's named after a guy, something Tula, where he basically said, I think it's anything up to 30 feet, a knife will win. And that's oddly enough in Call of Duty. If anyone ever played Modern Warfare 2 and wondered why, Commando Pro basically just let you fly forward with a knife. In game, the distance that your character lunges is the exact distance of the Tula Drill.
Oh,
do you know all those times you're playing Call of Duty and you've got a fucking shotgun and a guy with a knife just flies across the screen and knifes you before you have a chance to pull the trigger? And you say that's bullshit, that'd never happen in real life. It fucking would, because that's the distance of the Tula Drill. So think about it, in real life, it'd just be like when you're playing COD, and you look and you just see the guy just go, whoa, with a knife.
And let's bear in mind as well, you're more than likely in most situations not already walking around with your gun in your hands and finger on the trigger.
We are talking about America here, Lucas, so they might be. They might be getting
true. But I mean,
hard.
like, if someone surprises you by burgling you in the middle of the night, like you may not already have a gun out ready to fire.
It's America, Lucas. I just told you about a actual device that keeps a loaded shotgun in your headboard.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And the best comment I saw in regards to that is, I'd just fill it with Pringles. I'd fill it with Pringles for, like, when you finish having sex with a girl and just go, bam, Pringles come out.
Emergency Pringles, but not even like in the tube.
Ready.
Just like detube them.
just cover your bed in Pringles, like, yeah, girl, you love it. Oh man, that would be incredible. That'd be such a good thing to be able to do.
I've just got an image in my head of the like footboards with TVs in them. But instead, like they lift up and it's just like a snack cupboard comes out. Like just snacks.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I've got like the mini fridge from the office in my house, and I was debating, should I put this next to my work PC so I can just go like, oh, I want a beer? Then I thought, no, because then if it defrosts or breaks, it's gonna fucking defrost onto my PC. At least now it's in my kitchen, it'll do that onto like, a place that already gets wet, because it's the sideboard where I wash shit. I thought that'd be cool right up until we have a power cut, and then it all defrosts and my PC gets blown up.
Be worth it, Karl.
It'd be worth it for that cool thing, but yeah,
it would.
that video, just like all the stuff with the children, like you said, when Mythbusters do it, and they just tell us it Adam Savage or whatever, like, oh, I'm just gonna run at you as fast as I can with a knife, and it's fucking terrifying. What would you do? So scary.
Yeah, it genuinely would be terrifying. As much as you think, like that, I am the most calm person under pressure in the world. when there's a fully grown man with a giant knife screaming and running at you, you're gonna get a bit intimidated.
It's always, like I said, it's really fun to see discussions of that, and then the weekend warriors, the self-professed badasses come in, and that reminds me a little bit of a legendary tweet. It's already legendary. It's only been out for a couple of days, going around, and it was just this lady on Twitter just put out, "Hey girls, if you want a while away an hour, just ask a guy you're chatting to on Tinder what animal he could take in a fight." And you think, like, no, guys, and the responses are just girls sharing screenshots of guys who are having Tinder conversations with, like, yeah, I could take out a gorilla. And my favorite one is a guy who said he could take out a horse.
Fucking hell.
A horse. And for people who have never been near, like, Lucas, when's the last time you in town and saw a horse? What was your thoughts when you saw a 10-foot bobby on a police horse?
Yeah, it's scary as fuck. The idea that the horse itself, just its body is basically as tall as I am. Its hoof is the size of my head, and it's got the power to just shatter my skull in one kick.
Yeah, and it weighs like half a ton.
Yeah,
and its skull is like a 1/4 inch thick. It's basically bulletproof, and it can run at 30 miles an hour. And then you have guys, I could take one out.
See, when you said what animal could you take, I thought might be able to have a little dabble at a goose.
Thing is, though, how many videos do you see of geese fucking people up because they just get surprised by just the what?
Well, that's why I said I might have a chance. I don't even think it would be a decisive victory. I think I might lose an eye in this fight.
Keep in mind, one of the most famous statistics about swans is that they can break a man's arm, which isn't true. They can break both a man's arms.
The thing is, though, with swans, swans always pair up, so you've got to fight 2 swans.
You have to fight 2 swans, yes.
Yeah, you do, because they mate for life. They ain't letting their other half just get killed by some random chucklefoot with a gun.
And they're pure muscle, but it's I recommend people go track down that tweet and read through the reply. They want to see just how just ridiculously just full of themselves men can be. Of I could take out a wild animal that is basically a living bicep, bred on instinct to survive anything thrown at it, versus me, man.
But then you get to it where it's you come up with stupid ones where it's oh, how many toddlers do you think you could take in a fight at once? And some people are well, an unlimited amount. I'd take out every toddler. You could send 100 toddlers at me. I'd fucking win that fight. It's at some point, you're just getting overwhelmed by force, sheer numbers.
So we talked about it when we played Dead Rising. And we just discussed how this shows more than anything why slow zombies are such a threat. Because the moment you let one get hold of you, you're done.
Yeah.
Because it's not the fact that you're being attacked by a zombie. People always think, traditionally slow George Romero zombies, they're really, really easy to take out. It's one-on-one, yes. But have you ever tried lifting Deadweight?
Yeah.
Anyone out there, have you ever tried moving Deadweight? And now imagine 2-3 people grabbing onto you and all being Deadweight. It's impossible.
Yeah, we had it in a lot of times when we were doing physical theatre back in theatre school, or youth theatre, sorry, not theatre school. Didn't go to theatre school. And it was oh yeah, okay, well, we'll do a lift. Okay, well, that's a good lift. Okay, now person that you're lifting, go dead. And we do it where people would go a bit dead and try and put a bit more weight, and you just can't hold that person.
It's impossible now.
It's you can do a perfect, stable hold, find it really easy when everyone's doing it correctly. The moment they stop tensing and go dead, it just fucks you up completely.
It's really, really difficult with. And it's why people have to have special training just to be able to move people. In that situation, they have to learn specific holds to be able to move that. And now imagine you've been overwhelmed by 50 fucking people, all just going dead the moment they land on you. But at the same time, you go online and you bring up the idea or the question of surviving a zombie apocalypse. The amount of guys I'd fuck up so many zombies. No zombies would stand a chance. You'd probably get killed in the first 10 minutes.
I mean, I know my plan, and it's to try and get to a shop as quickly as possible, get as much alcohol as I can, and just go out swinging. Not go out swinging against zombies, may I add. Go out swinging against 18 bottles of rum in my fucking front room.
Shout outs to the guys zombies aren't Deadweight. They are literally. They're literally dead weight. That's the joke. That's why we said it.
And like I've been mentioning to you, haven't I, that I've been playing a ton of Resident Evil 2 remake, and those fuckers sneak up on you fast. Like the moment you're like distracted by one zombie, there's two others in the room. You turn around, they all just swarmed you.
And that's how they get. And that's like what, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's always been hilarious to me just the amount of people who insist, no, I could do it. Like, despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, it's like, no, I would be the exception to this near universal rule. I would survive.
Yeah.
Why? What do you do that makes you think you'd be able to do? Is that because I know that I am the protagonist of all reality?
That's it, isn't it?
Oh, well, speaking of dead weight, that reminds me of a story I was thinking about with my regards to my mum. I got some news this week. We had Mother's Day over the weekend, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I called my mum on Mother's Day, as you do. And for any Americans worrying, Mother's Day is different in the UK than it is in America.
Same as daylight saving times, which really threw me off when I saw a load of Americans tweeting about daylight saving times.
Yeah, I'm sure they got the exact same feeling when we started tweeting about Mother's Day. And like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So Americans, you've not missed Mother's Day. It's a different day. But I called her up, wished her a happy Mother's Day, had a catch up with her, and my mum just casually dropped in the conversation. Yeah, I was in a car crash last week, son. Like, what? My mum's fine, but she was in a car crash. And her car's a complete write-off, and she's like, a little bit shaken. She hasn't got a car. That's what she's mostly annoyed about. And I asked her, I was like, why didn't you tell me, Mum? Because I'm fine, and I knew that you'd buy me a toy car as a joke. And I thought and went, actually, yeah, I would have done that. The first thing I would have done after finding out that she's fine is I would have gone onto Amazon and just special ordered a toy car and got it delivered to her door and say, I know you haven't got a car, Mum. Hopefully this helps, and put a toy car in there. So I respect that.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, that does sound like something you would do.
But that reminded me while I was thinking about, speaking about Deadweight, is that is not the only time my mum has been injured doing something like that and then not giving a fuck.
Oh, really?
No, because my mum, just to put respect on her, because she's got a really, really difficult job. It is palliative care. And just that's people who have got terminal illnesses or end of life, generally elderly, but just anyone who has a terminal illness. She looks after them. She's been doing that for decades now. At one point, a couple of years ago now, she was helping an old man down the stairs. And while helping this old man down the stairs, this old man had a seizure. So this old man, bear in mind my mum's 5'7", 100 pounds wet through. She was helping just an old burly man down the stairs. Old man had a seizure on the middle of a set of stairs, and my mum, obviously, she got to now hold dead weight that's convulsing in her hands, and she grabbed the man, turned around, used her own body as a shield, and fell down the stairs with this man in her hands.
Right.
And she dislocated her shoulder. And this story has an amazing ending. That's what I was reminded of this story. It's fucking incredible. My mum was really, really annoyed about this because she has been doing this shit for years, and she knows that if somebody has seizure risks, that is a 2-carer job. For the exact reason that happens to her. It's like you need to have 2 people escorting them at all times when they go up and down stairs in case that happens. And she checked the notes, and she saw that seizure risk was not written on the form that she had for that day when she went back to the office and checked, or when she was got someone to go to the office and check for her, it was written on the notes that head office had.
Christ.
So my mum got really, really fucking annoyed because I got injured because my work did not tell me or give me all the information I knew. Because if I'd have known this, I would have known not to go downstairs. I would have brought a second person. But she thought to herself, they're doing this to save money. They didn't want to send 2 carers out to this guy, even though the government's paying them the amount of money that they need. So she wrote a very stern letter informing her work of this. It was like, look, I just want that guy to get 2 carers, and I want my wages while I'm off and an apology from the person who sent me on the course. And you think that's probably going to be an open shut case, isn't it, Luke?
I mean, you would think so.
You'd think the work would want to just keep that hush hush and would give her money. But she didn't take it any further. No, what happened was her boss, who didn't like my mum because my mum was more qualified than she was, and turned down getting her job because she preferred to work in the field with patients than in the office. sent my mum a letter that I couldn't believe because I remember reading it as a kid. Not as a kid, but I was like 20 years old at the point.
Younger, yeah.
And getting
yeah.
really fucking annoyed. And it was, it's come to our attention that you weren't wearing the correct footwear when you were escorting, doing this job. And as such, you weren't adhering to our very strict safety standards. So as such, we may have to fire you because you weren't doing that and you risked this old man's life.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you ignored stringent safety conditions. Keep in mind that she was wearing pink shoes. Or something like that. She wasn't wearing she was wearing the correct footwear, but she had them a different colour. So it's not that they weren't safety shoes or anything like that, because you don't wear steel toe cap boots to help old people down the stairs.
No.
No, you just wear plain black plimsolls, but she wore pink ones because, she had personality. And her patients fucking love that about her.
But that means it's not uniform because it's not black.
And because she wasn't wearing uniform, they try to weasel out of it that way. And what my mum found out, and this is incredible, is her boss tried to go to the family of that old man to get them to corroborate this and get them to sign a piece of paper saying that my mum was being unprofessional. So they didn't have to. And I just want to now just let everyone out there just imagine the balls you would have to go to someone who literally saw a person use their body as a shield to protect a family member and get them to say, do you want this person to get fired?
That is A, ballsy, and B, so fucking stupid.
It was incredible. And my mum was so angry. But, God bless her, she refused to apply for compensation. All she said was, I want my wages for being off work and I want an apology for the person who's doing all this and besmirching my name. And this went on for, I think, 2 or 3 years. She just wanted an apology and they refused to give it to her. And the lady who she wanted the apology from, she eventually just was shifted around and moved.
Right.
And the company tried to do it that way of, oh, yeah, she's no longer him. I don't care. I want an apology. Track her down and get my... I'm not going to sign anything saying... Because the thing is, even though she said she didn't want to sue, they wanted to sign saying that she didn't. So they could put it behind...
Yeah, because they need that legislation to be there. Because, this person will never ever sue us.
Because up until she does that, at any point over 10 years, she can just decide to change her mind. And my mum absolutely categorically refused to sign that until she got her apology. And this culminated in her being brought into the office and going for an arbitration meeting with their lawyer or something like that, who was asking her a bunch of questions. And just sat down. They were asking her. They would basically, this is her clearing her name because they started saying a bunch of shit like, "Oh, she takes time off."
Yeah, of course.
She's really and why do you have time off? Because I had a daughter, which was agreed upon.
Then so it's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah. And during this meeting, they were like, "Oh, it says here you're accused of not turning up to client appointments on time." He said you were constantly tardy. Mum's like, "Why is that?" It's because I stay with clients to talk to them, to give them the dignity of human contact. You can see in I've got 15 fucking sworn statements here from family members, because she went to all the clients and asked them, saying that I'm the best carer they've ever had, and they appreciate that I turn up late because I'm giving everyone the same level of care that I'm giving them. Oh, okay. Yeah. It says here that you're often off for a lot of times. Yeah, I've got a daughter. Oh, did she not have alternate care? No. Oh, so you're not, in addition to doing your job looking after sick and dying, you're also looking after a young daughter on your own? Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. One of the other accusations here, it says that you also took 3 weeks off work last year. Yeah, I was in a car crash. This is another car crash she was in. They're like, oh, was that what? Yes. Did it happen? Well, yeah, it happened. Why? Because I was working, I was covering someone's shift. Did you have to cover the shift? No, but I was told that if I didn't cover it, the person wouldn't get care. Oh, so you're in a car crash while working, while covering a shift to supply critical terminal life care to someone with a disease. Yeah. Okay, there. It says here that you also had another unexplained absence a couple of weeks after that. And what was that? Had cancer.
Canal.
Well, yeah, I had a hysterectomy. And you took time off. When were you back at work? A couple of weeks later. And then and she just said you could go through everything the lawyer was looking at, going, what? why are you trying to?
Yeah.
What are you trying to? Someone's like, she knew it. She took it to court. There's no fucking way they're gonna win. Because she had like,
Yeah.
I said, sworn statements from fucking every single person she'd ever worked with. Say she's one of the best care workers we've ever had.
Oh my
And
god.
all she wanted was her apology. And they eventually dragged that woman from the office they sent her to and sat down in front of my mum and made her apologize.
I'm really not surprised.
It was fucking incredible.
Oh god.
And
Well,
she
bless
got
her.
like, that was a great story though, because I remembered that and I asked my mum about it just to get the details for it. She was just telling me, it's like she was howling, retelling the story of, yeah, I made him apologize. I got my fucking apology.
Well, I am very glad that she's like all good,
That's the
and all
thing.
safe after a crash.
Like, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
My mum's gonna live forever out of spite. We've all said that. Like me and my brothers have all said that she's gonna live till 90, just to spite us all.
God. Yeah, I don't think I'm living till 90. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, nah. Fuck that.
She does it to spite us, Lucas. She lives forever. Oh, but I just remember that though, because I was that was when I wrote the emails for her. It's one of the things that I do because my mum, she knew what she wanted to say in these emails, but she wanted to make them sound more professional. So she'd send like them to me to write on her behalf, and like she'd ask me to collate all the correspondence from clients and work that she got, and then just keep a hard record of it online because she didn't have a computer at the time. And they were sending her emails, but she couldn't go to work to get access her work email address because they locked her out of that. So I had to access my mum's work emails and then like call her and read them out. So I helped her with all this stuff.
God.
That was one of the things they accused her of as well. It's like, oh, it's you were really bad at responding to correspondence. Well, I hadn't got a computer at home, and I could only access my work emails, but they wouldn't let me into work. Oh, so they were withholding critical information in regards to this from. Yeah, they were. Oh, that's all. So basically, they went through all this shit they did that was illegal. And like they're saying, oh, and you're willing to overlook this, Miss Smallwood? Yeah, if I get an apology. And the lawyer's like, give her a fucking apology right now.
Yeah, like fucking get her right now. No.
It was so fucking good.
Oh god.
I love that shit. I wish I could be a fly on the wall for that.
Yeah.
For that moment.
Just seeing like the sweat drip down the lawyer's face, like, oh shit. We need to get a fucking apology from this woman.
It's like, I will sign it if I get an apology.
That's the most basic thing, isn't it? I hate people like that of like, oh yeah, all she wants you to do is apologize. She could fucking sue our ass, but instead all she wants is an apology. No.
It's because the one lady at work refused to admit fault. Because she
That's
realized
what I mean, like that single woman just has way too much like pride and fucking ignorance.
An ego to admit that she was wrong. And that's what my mum wanted. She says, I want you to just apologize and admit that you were wrong, that you should have sent 2 carers to that job. It was your job to do that. And then they tried to get her with, well, you had the knowledge. If you knew this, why did you do it? Because I'm not the one in charge. I can't set fucking client care routines. You do. If I'd have asked for a second person, it would have been denied. Can you prove that? Yeah, here it is when I did it for another client. Oh. It's like you got to again imagine the balls it takes. Why didn't you override your boss who's currently trying to fucking sue you?
Yeah. Yeah, God.
Oh, great! I love it. I love it.
Man, that's just like
it'd be infuriating if it ended any other way.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah.
It's like the one of
people like that.
Like when she was in that car crash, and it was that was another one where she had to spend ages trying to convince the guy he was at fault because he absolutely refused to admit it was his fault.
Of course.
Because he's like, oh yeah, like the car was black. You had no lights on. It's like, I was fucking parked, dickhead. It took him ages because the guy, and it's like, oh, she has that happen all the time. I feel so bad for her.
Yeah, I worked with a couple of people that got like hit at a cross section by a guy that had stolen a car. There was CCTV footage of him swerving down the road and then crashing directly into them as they were at a standstill. And then apparently, like, the guy was refusing to admit fault. It's like, we literally have footage of them sitting in a car and you just swerving into them in, nonetheless, a fucking stolen vehicle. And he's like, no. It was them. It's like, okay.
I refuse to admit fault.
And like in the end, you know, things all worked out and they ended up getting like a nice payout for it and whatnot. But just when they told me like, yeah, they have him on video and he's completely denying it, it's like, of course.
So many stories like that, and they're always infuriating.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So that one of my mum though, that's like the one, because I was involved and I had to deal with the correspondence on her behalf, and I was getting so mad, and I was so tempted to just tell this woman to go fuck herself. No, because if you do that, then I'm not going to get it. You have to be nice.
You do, yeah.
You have to be nice to people like that, because the moment you give them any sort of ammunition, turn it against you. Like,
It's not just like some random person on Twitch. We can't tell them to fuck off and block them, Karl.
You can't do that now.
We can't, unfortunately.
As satisfying as it would have been to that lady, because goddamn, I fucking.
Yeah.
I just remember the story just years later of a boyfriend at the time said he went and got a car and just let her tires down. Do you know after the case was solved?
Yeah.
Because he said he was going to do it for years, and Mum's like, no, because if you do that, they'll know it was me. And it's going to affect it. And the day that they got the settlement and got her wages and got her apology, he drove to her house in the middle of the night and just slit the fucking air out of her tires. And that is super fucking childish and petty. But fuck it. I'd argue that lady deserved it.
Oh my god. Yeah. But as you say, like, the moment you do it before everything's settled, it's like, oh, yeah, well, that's reason to stop the case then, because it's like harassment and shit like that.
Oh, the idea. He's had it in his head for 3 years.
He's just waiting.
Just 3 years waiting to go like fucking slit her tires. I respect it. I respect just the level of dedication.
Oh man, I gotta love it.
Was there any stories like that though from your past that you're aware of? Like, no, just the petty revenge.
I mean,
Ever gotten back?
not particularly. Like, I don't think like petty revenge is something, but like, I mean, I guess there's one of like not so much revenge, but just a fuck you.
Okay.
I know that, for example, I was christened at one church, and then like not long after I was christened, my dad like ended up in an argument with the priest of the church.
Okay.
I don't know why, but then he was like, "Well, fuck you. I'm gonna go to a different church," and I got christened again at a different church. Just because he was like, no, like that one doesn't count anymore. We're scraping that priest like away from memory. You're getting christened by someone else. Fuck that guy.
We're gonna your soul. It's not pure enough.
It's not. Like, all that happened was like, oh god, we need to do another one.
A fresh install of that Christianity. That's what it is. Christianity's just gone wrong to reinstall it on this baby.
It didn't work because, you know, I'm just like openly atheist at this point.
And living in sin with your girlfriend.
I am indeed. So like, yeah.
Did you see during the height of the pandemic all those priests christening babies with water guns?
Yeah.
I thought they were all photoshops. Apparently they were real. Priests were just getting holy water water guns and like christening babies with it, and just spraying the baby in the head.
Right, we've got to make the baby holy, but also like, there's COVID. No, stay back.
Thing is that gun sounds incredible. That sounds too dangerous.
I just wish it was like Super Soaker though.
Oh, baby. Okay, here we go. What Super Soaker did you have as a kid? Everyone had one.
See, I had just like a pretty, you know, standard just pump action, like it shoots, you know, it's meant to be like a machine gun kind of thing.
What specific one did you have? Because I had that big purple one.
I'm not sure.
I think it was like the S1000 or something like that, and it was the purple one that had like the air compartment in the front and then the water tank on the back.
I'm not exactly sure. Like, I don't have as good a memory for that kind of stuff. Okay. But the one I always know I wanted was the one where like you fill up 2 giant tubes of water and it's just like the shotgun, and it's like boom,
just sprays them all in one go.
That's what I want the priests to use on the babies.
The one that I remember,
the shotgun.
Yeah, the one that had like the water tank and it just sprayed it all in one go. But you had to pump it up for like 10 seconds. It's like the shotgun blast or whatever the fuck it was, wasn't it? Because I remember what I did with mine. We had a next door neighbour who was like a dab hand with his tools. He was like the guy who helps us with our bikes and stuff like that. To like have hand-me-down bikes and things like that. So he'd help us with those. And we went round to his and we asked him, could we like go use stuff in his shed? make our super soakers better. And he's like, oh yeah. So what he did is he completely dried out our super soakers. This is the problem a lot of people had. And they tried to customize their super so they couldn't dry them out, but he had these like smoked like meat and shit in his shed. We put our super soakers in there, and they smelt like fucking beef for ages, but they were perfectly dry. So what we did is we got electric tape and we sealed up the water tank and the air compressor. They always leaked. They always leak in soup, not when you've got fucking lecky tape around there though. And we like vacuum sealed our super soakers. And what he did is he put like better springs inside like the pumping mechanism, so that it basically was like doo, doo, and then it was incredible. It's like high pressure water jets.
So essentially, Karl, like you were the kids showing up at paintball with their own custom guns. Like, yeah.
Well, super soakers weren't that great. It's just that we customized ours. People on our estate had like the backpack one. Do you remember that?
Oh my god, yeah.
People had like the backpack one, but ours, because ours were customized, and we had access to the ultimate weapon in a water fight, which was a tap in our back garden.
Oh yeah,
we had the outside tap. No one else on our estate had the outside tap, and only people on our side in the water fight had an outside tap. Everyone else had to go
increased reload speed, Karl.
Yeah, everyone else had to go into like their mum's kitchen and put down bin liners so they didn't put water everywhere.
Oh god, classic. Did you ever have the one like a friend or ever have like the laser tag ones? Where like instead of super soaker fights, it was like you can play laser tag outside, and you'd have like a chest pad on, and they'd have little shitty laser guns, and just
yeah, we used to have that, and they said, oh, they'll work from like 100 yards away, and they don't.
They didn't work like at all.
Nope.
And it was terrible. Just you'd sit there and just be 5 foot away, shooting right directly at the things. It's like 1 in 100 times it just flash up like, yeah, you did it.
I wonder with modern technology if they could make those work.
I mean, surely at this point, like if they put the time and money into it, but I think it's one of those of, is it worth making something like that when we could make something better now?
Probably, yeah. Like, I'm wondering with modern technology, could we make like a good version? It's like Nerf guns and stuff. Remember, I used to have all the Nerf guns in my old house.
Yeah.
And I used to have that really big house that was like the maisonette, and I just had Nerf guns on the wall. I remember once when I had some people from work over, they were like, oh, why'd you have a couple of the girls from work turned up? And they knew that I was like a big kid and it was a huge nerd. So they turned up to my apartment for the first time. Like, why have you got Nerf guns on the wall, Karl? I was like, oh, in case I want to have a Nerf gun fight. They're like, they see all my video games, and they were like laughing about them a little, in that jokey way of, oh, well, I knew you were a nerd, but I didn't expect it to be this nerdy. And then you get a couple of drinks down, people, then the Nerf guns start fucking coming out.
Yeah.
That's what happened. It's like an hour into the evening, those girls are then there hiding in the kitchen with their bottle of wine, like, pew, pew, pew. And like the lads are in the kitchen like throwing the fucking Nerf bullets back.
I think like every time we ever went round to that flight, it always devolved into Nerf gun fights.
Nerf gun battle, yeah. And I was always so pissed off that I could never find the 2 things of Nerf that I wanted. And that was the hatchet that you can throw. It was a soft Nerf hatchet, so I could just do the Night Wolf. The yeet combo from like downtown with the Night Wolf. And the other one was the Nerf bow and arrow. Because the Nerf bow and arrow is hilarious. You just fire the Nerf arrow like this long, and it fucking wrecks. I remember I was in Toys R Us once and did it across the shop. So I miss going to Toys R Us as an adult when we go shopping for my sister for Christmas and stuff, and getting on like the little bikes and getting 2 Nerf guns and rolling around the shop. It's like, Karl, stop doing that. I said, no, they're out so you can play with them to test.
Oh god, I love stuff like that. Oh, I miss being able to go to shops and just dick about.
Yeah, and I've said one of the things I want to get for my apartment, we finally able to like exit COVID. I'm gonna get some like plastic or foam swords and weaponry and just put them on my wall. So I can just kick the shit out of people when they're walking. It's gonna be done.
Oh god, like it will be nice just going back to a world when I don't have anxiety going to the fucking shop.
Scary.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh god.
I just wanted the hatchet, man. I just wanted to fucking just night wolf it.
I mean, you know what you can get though, Karl? You can get Halo Infinite Nerf guns already. So go get one of them.
If they're not making a needler one, what's the point?
How do you make a needler one?
It should have the Nerf bullets out, poking out like the needlers. If it's not that, there's no point. I'm sorry.
But I think it's literally just, standard Nerf gun branded with Halo stuff.
and they're not going to make it look. It's going to look like the assault rifle, which is really boring.
Yeah.
And we all
I
know.
don't even think it. I think it still looks just like a standard Nerf gun.
And the annoying thing is for Nerf, like they never made the ones that we all want. Like we all want. As I had a shotgun one, but when we want a shotgun one, I wanted to fire like 50 Nerf bullets at once.
Oh yeah.
Or like they're like the
weren't.
sniper rifle ones, and then like you are never ever going to get that off. You are never. No one's going to pull out the sniper rifle Nerf gun and get a shot off with it when you can just be the dickhead who has like the one where you can just reload it as quickly as you can pull the trigger.
And I did just look up like what the Halo one looks like. It literally looks like it looks like the battle rifle, but it's just like instead of being white, orange, and blue, it's white, orange, and Halo green with like Halo written on the side.
That's how. Thing is, the one thing I know about Halo is that all the guns have Halo written on them. I hate it.
For a second, I was like, "Wait, what? No."
I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than getting like official merch sucks so much ass.
Really
because
does.
There's nothing more frustrating than seeing a cool design on a shirt. I don't know, like from Marvel. When you go look up and it's like, oh, this looks like a good design at the bottom. Avengers Infinity War trademarks. I know. That's why I'm getting the shirt. It's so frustrating.
And like, shout out to this one where it's just literally Stark Industries. It's like, yeah.
And I'm guessing that's an unofficial one.
I don't remember where this is from. Like, this was a present.
It looks like it's an unofficial one because it was
official.
official.
Looks like it's an unofficial one because underneath it would just be like trademark Marvel.
Yeah, in massive letters so that you know.
Yeah. Like the Marvel logo would be as big as the Stark Industries bit.
And make it look super light. It's the the clothing equivalent of a fucking Funko Pop. And I hate it.
At least Funko Pops like don't have fucking brands just written across the forehead though.
You know that they would if they could.
Oh, they would if they could, yeah.
If they could
just like side character from X-Files that looks like standard Mammon suit and just X-Files written across his head.
They'd have it written there if they could.
And that's the one that always gets me about like Funkos is I don't mind like I've got some and I don't mind, I've got like right there Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Okay, cool. Like they're the icons of the series. When it gets to the point though where it's like, oh yeah, a person that had a cameo in one episode of a TV show, they don't even have a name. It's just like, okay, what? And it's just because there's those people out there where it's like, well, I've got to get every one of that series.
And that's why they exist. They exist. It's a collector's market. I had like a discussion on an older podcast about how that is designed to fail.
Yeah.
Because you made a reference to like the Beanie Baby boom, which was basically just a self-created. It was a speculator's market created by one person, and then the people left holding the bag when it all imploded were just like left destitute. Essentially.
Well, it's same with like the Pokemon card thing going on right now.
Yeah, that's another one where the bubble's going to burst eventually, and it's going to be the people left holding the bag, as it were, again, who are worst off. And it's something like with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's currently like a huge big thing. It's got another boost. Eventually, it's going to drop. Same thing with like that GameStop stock. Eventually, it's going to go down. Did you see? There was a great thing going around the other day where a guy, or I don't even know how to explain what they are, but like NFTs or something like non-fungible tokens, which are like I don't even know how to explain what they are, but essentially they are digital artwork that you pay money for.
So it depends what it is because it's basically I'm paying for a token that says I own this artwork, even though there's no actual like accreditation behind that. Like it wouldn't hold up in court. Like I don't. You own nothing other than a token that says you own something.
And it works on the same premise as like Bitcoin and stuff like that. But it's basically a huge fucking scam because the art world, if people don't know, is essentially just legitimized money laundering. Businesses and huge corporations, multi-millionaires and billionaires use it to just filter money legally through the system.
Oh,
okay. A good example of that, or just like a simple example would be, okay, I get a friend paint me something. I then go to my other friend who is a art dealer. I get them to value this painting. This painting, they value it at $25 million. I then donate this painting to a museum. I have now made a $25 million charitable charitable donation that I can write off on my taxes.
Okay.
And that's like a simplified version of like, that is legally something you can do.
And as you say, very simplified version of it. But yes, if you can get something like, again, like it's all just down to somebody's word of, well, this person said it was valued at this, so it's valued at this now.
We've got a paper trail saying that it's worth this, and now I made a donation in this, and it's like you didn't. Someone's got an explanation here. It's basically metadata for a JPEG that certifies that you own said JPEG.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw that the creator of Twitter sold off like his first ever tweet for like $6 million or something.
Yeah, and this is why it's a fucking scam, because rich people are using it to sell to other rich people who are hoping to then sell it on, fueled by the stories about them selling for so much. It's going to become another speculator's market. But the reason it's so funny is there was a guy who bought a bunch. Bear in mind the things that he bought, I don't know, for some astronomical amount of money. Keep in mind the things he's buying are data on a computer. That data was stolen from him. And then he went online to bitch about it, saying that when I reported it to my bank, there was nothing they could do. Because you bought, like, the whole point of this is that it's non-legitimate and that it's not reliant on the actual economy, or it's not backed by anything. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah.
And now you're complaining that you can't rely on the system this thing was deliberately designed to circumvent, can't help you get your money back. And everybody was just shitting on, like, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, that's the whole point of cryptocurrencies, isn't it? Of like, you don't have to rely on banks anymore, and they're completely untrustworthy, and like you can't trust their valuation on money because it's just all based on blah blah blah. We're going to come up with something better. And then the moment it fucks up, they run back to the bank like, please help me.
I spent my life savings on Bitcoin and the value plummeted. Can I get my money back or a refund? No. And it's when you get all those stories that like people have like Bitcoin wallets that they can't access. And they lose them in like there's a famous story about a guy who has a Bitcoin wallet worth several $1 million now. It was worth a couple $100,000 a few years ago, and it's now worth millions. That he accidentally threw away, and he has been campaigning to his local council for almost a decade to go and search through the rubbish to get it back.
Oh my god.
And every time he asks for it, they just say no.
Yeah. That is not their fucking problem.
Yeah, we don't care. And he's like, oh, I'll give you half. It's like, half of what?
Yeah.
Half of what? You don't even know if it's in there anymore. We don't care. And he's really mad. And then there's another one. And this story, it's one of those things where I legit think it would make me insane. And it is a guy who has a Bitcoin wallet that has millions of dollars on it, but he can't remember the password. And it's one of those super, super secure locked ones. That is, if you get the password wrong 3 times or whatever, everything inside gets deleted forever.
It just like burns it, yeah.
And he's tried, like, he's got like 2 attempts left. And there's a quote from him where he says, I think about it quite often. I think that is the understatement of the century, isn't it?
Man, I could not ever stop thinking about that.
Yeah, it would.
If that was me,
it would occupy every waking moment of my life. It's like it's like those stories of people who accidentally throw away winning lottery tickets and stuff, and they just go insane, and like they just fucking just get a gun and shoot their family over it. It's like that amount of money, a life-changing amount of money, just snatched away.
Yeah, you're literally set for life, but you can't remember your fucking password. Like, you can't remember your password for being financially set up, in theory, for eternity.
There, and it's just sat on your desk. Nothing you can do. And all you've got to sit there, all you've got is time to think about how fucking stupid you are, and why you did what you did, and why you didn't make it easy to, like, get into. Or why you didn't set up like 2-factor authentication.
Or why you just didn't write it down in 3, 4, 5, 50 different locations.
Incredible.
God. The worst one would be if, like, he, had a note on his phone that told him what the password was, but that was password encrypted and he forgot the password for that as well.
The thing is, if it was password encrypted on your phone, you could call Apple and they could let you in.
I guess, yeah.
You know why? Because it's owned by a company.
Mhm.
It's not a deregulated cryptocurrency that has no backing anywhere.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because obviously, if this was money in a bank, like if you lost
Mhm.
your bank card, you could go into a bank and say, I would like to access my money. And it might be a bit of an ass ache to get in there. But
Yeah,
if
but
you
you
could
can
prove
prove your identity in other ways, can't you?
you can, yeah. But with this, it's just sat on your desk and there's literally nothing you can do.
There's no like outside source. It's just
There is
get
no
it
one who
right.
can help you. It's like you've got to guess or you're wrong and it's all gone.
The question is though, Carl, would you leave it forever and just have it sitting on your desk as like potential money so that you could unlock at some point somehow, or would you actually use the guesses?
That's the thing. I don't know what I'd do. And the thing is for me,
Mm.
I wouldn't need that because I always back up all my passwords.
Yeah.
And I have like a system. I'm obviously not going to say out loud because it makes sense to me, but it's very silly. But I have a password system in my head that utilizes a series of numbers and codes that I've known for years.
Yeah.
That I rotate. So basically, at the end, after every year, what I do is I put the end of the password at the start of the password, and then revamp all my passwords. So it's basically this string of like 15 to 20 numbers, characters, and things that I have been using for so long now. I remember it off by heart.
Yeah.
And just switch it up.
See, I've got a really good system with my passwords where I just put password 123 for every single password. It's great.
Oh, okay. Then you've
I
got
never forget any of them.
then you've got my dad who just has on his phone. He just has like Peter. But who's Peter? Look at his number. Oh, that's his PIN number.
Oh right, yeah.
There's no
yeah.
like someone that gets your phone. Like someone gets your
Mhm.
phone, they're not going to know like Peter, and it just has like a series of like 8 numbers, and it's just all his PIN numbers in a row. And he knows obviously what order they go in because he knows how it works. But yeah. And sometimes the lo-fi options are really difficult because it's difficult to hack into someone's brain. Like if you write
Yeah,
like the
because
old classic
in
of,
order to unlock that password, you have to think like that person,
and it's the
and
same thing
that's
with like
very difficult.
writing it down on a piece of paper and putting it nearby. It sounds stupid. It's like, oh, that's really easy to hack into. But in your house, no one's going to be able to get into. If they've broken into your house and stolen your computer, they're maybe not going to see like a book in a drawer in a room down the hallway.
That reminds me of something. Did you watch like the Pyra and Mithra Smash Bros like discussion with Sakurai?
Yeah, where he says that he has the secret drawer full of all the
And
secret.
yeah, so man who's holding like one of gaming's most coveted secrets of who the fuck is going to be in Smash
Next.
and he's like, oh yeah, they're all just sitting in a locked drawer in my desk. And like the internet is just losing their mind. Like, we need to find this desk. It's like, but it's right here. It's in my house.
You should
You
just
don't know
show
where.
people it.
Yeah, he should have just shown them. Like, just peeked it a little bit. Just started pulling it open and then cut the video before you see what's inside the drawer. Just like, oh,
the hidden desk.
oh god, that's the desk of like just dreams, isn't it?
It is. And as well, like, speaking of just hiding things, what is the best hiding place you've ever come up with? You know when you're a kid and you're hiding stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know when you get like birthday money and stuff like that and you try and hide it? What's the best one you come up with? I have a really good one that I came up with that I thought, this is a super good. It was when I got birthday money, what I'd do is I would get like a little bit of hair gel or something like that, and I'll put it on the money, and I'll pull out a drawer and stick it to the bottom of the drawer. Who looks underneath the drawer?
Yeah.
But then I'd know that if I wanted to, I could pull it out and just go whoop, my money underneath. No one's gonna look underneath there.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had like a just little weird like wooden step in my room to get around a bit of awkward geometry, and like I ended up breaking one of the panels off by accident, like one of the wooden panels, just like a wooden plank, and just it's hollow on the inside, and it's like, oh, okay, well that's a little secret thing that no one in the house knows about. I'm like, well, it's just like something we put like a cushion on and sit on in my bedroom, and just I'd sit there and play my games on it, and it's like something you'd never think about. It's just a little chair, basically. And then like, oh, but if you lift off the cushion, pull the plank up, it's hollow inside, and I like hid all my, I don't know, I don't even know what I hid in there as a kid. Like, I guess, a bit of money or something.
Birthday money,
But
sweets and
like in your head,
Halloween.
it's like, oh my god, like no one's ever gonna know about the super secret hiding spot. But as a kid, it's like, but what are you gonna put in there?
And
Like,
you,
what's so secret for an 11-year-old to hide in there? It's probably just like, oh, my Power Rangers gun or some shit like that.
I still do it as an adult, just so I get surprised. I like finding money in my
Mm.
house. So when I get birthday money and stuff like that, what I'll normally do is I'll put a tenner and I'll fold it up really small and put it in my wallet right at the very back. Because I
Ah,
know
right,
that I'm
yeah.
going to forget, and then I'll be out for like drinks a couple months later and go, and I love that. I love that so much.
Well, like I, for a while, as like a way to not get absolutely just hit by a truck of money at Christmas time, I would just be like, oh, on my way back from work once a week, I'll just go to a cash point, pull out a tenner, pull that tenner in, and like if you do that once a week, by the end of next year, you've got like 500 quid saved up.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, cool. Like you kind of just forget, and it's like, obviously, I understand that everyone can't just like throw away tenner every week,
Yep.
essentially. But yeah, it was just a good way to like, oh well, I just put it in this little pot, and it's like a little cut out of like a licorice all sorts man, so you can't see inside. And it's just, oh well, I opened it up and there's like a few hundred quid in there to help towards Christmas ones. That's great. But now obviously I'm in lockdown and I'm just like, well, I'm not fucking walking anywhere. I'm not going past cash points. So this Christmas I'm just gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I do the same thing where I transfer money. I've got like I think you can make new accounts online.
Yeah.
What I did is I made like 3 new accounts that have no money
Mm-hmm.
in them, purely so that when I go to my banking app screen, all you see is my regular current account, my savings account, and then an ISA. But then there's another 3 accounts below that you
Ah,
can't
right,
see.
okay.
And what I do is like I'll transfer money from the top account because I never scroll down because I only use it just to glance about how much money I've got in my account.
Yeah.
And then what happens is every now and again I'll scroll down. And say, oh, there's money in there. I'll transfer that to like pay, and that's what I'll do when I buy and sell like games and stuff.
I was gonna say because that's my issue is I can't do that with online banking because then the moment I look up my online bank account, it's like that money's there and I remember it's there every time.
Yeah, so I made new accounts so that like when on my screen specifically I can't see them.
That's not a bad idea.
And I did the same thing where I went and I got a new account, but then asked them not to send me a card.
Mm.
So I have an account, but I can't access it with my card, and that's another one. So I've basically got like 5, 6 accounts I hide all my money, like Scrooge.
It was nice when I realized like, oh, I hadn't used PayPal in like a year to pay for anything or even logged onto the app or whatever. And it was just like I got a notification from the PayPal. I'm like, log back in. Like you've been logged out after a timeout thing. And I was like, okay, whatever. I logged back in and I forgot like I sold some stuff on eBay. And it's like, oh, you have 250 quid just sitting in this PayPal account. I was like,
Fuck yeah.
oh shit, yeah.
That's what I
cool.
do with mine. All the money we get via donations and stuff on Twitch, which are on now, people listening at home after the fact, and that goes to PayPal, which is what I use to get a girlfriend of mine's takeaway each week, and it pays for my Spotify and my Netflix. So yeah, if anyone's ever donating money, you've bought many a takeaway for me and the missus. But I think we can end on just hiding money in our houses. Me and you just being little Scrooge McDucks, and just all the people who are watching in our respective chats. Mine is like Karl's Wood on Twitch, Luke's Canto Legend on Twitch. Yes.
Legend of Canto.
Legend of Canto, my bad. We're going to do Q&A in a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. We'll go through a couple just for the end of the podcast. But while that gets through to the people listening live at home, going to just let us know who can find you if you want to listen to more of your dulcet tones.
Hell yeah. And as people can see on my screen and on my Twitch when they're watching, or people, as you just mentioned, you can find me at Twitch at Legend of Canto. Same with my YouTube, and it's basically just, mostly dumb gaming stuff other than this podcast every week.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just going to tweet out then. It's like, oh yeah, we're now doing Q&A, but I thought I'm going to fucking loop. By the time people are going to click on that and come through, we're already going to have finished.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
So yeah, to people in chat, we can do some questions now. Q&A and stuff. So you only need to let us know, and I'll scroll and have a look through and say, but for mine, it's like Smallwood. Really easy.
Well, it's not. It's Karl's Wood.
It's Karl's Wood, but if you search Karl Smallwood, you'll find it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I checked, and there is another. So you mentioned there's someone out there who has your name was like in a band or something.
Yeah. So there's a guy like Lucas Holland who is a drummer. So the moment like I ever used my real name, I would have no SEO relevance at all because this
Mate,
guy's been known on the internet for years.
mate, give it time.
Oh, I'll try. I'll try.
Give it time. It still makes me giggle when I realise that I'm more relevant than some of the people who gave me shit back in my writing days. Or like the people who really up their own ass and refuse to talk to me. It's like, yeah, I didn't have enough articles under my belt, and I go look them up now, and they're still writing like $20 articles for the SEO website, and I'm like get right. You should have been nice. You should always be nice to people.
The last thing is you never know who's going to make it, do you?
No.
So be nice to everybody because, you know, someday it may or may not pay off for you. And if it doesn't pay off, that's not the purpose of being nice.
Be nice is its own reward.
It is, yeah. And like, it's just one of those things, though, of, oh, well, if I bumped into somebody that was an asshole to me 10, 15 years ago, and they're like, oh, cool, like, you know, blah, 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 could we do this together? I'd be, well, no, because you're an asshole to me.
That's when you get that legendary, it's from admin, isn't it? Like, oh, I feel sorry for you, so I don't think about you at all.
I've not watched Mad Men, so I've not heard that before.
You'll see it's screenshot a lot online, but it's like just a great conversation. I think Don Draper, someone looks and goes, I feel sorry for you, so I don't think about you. You're not even relevant enough to me to give a shit. I don't think about your life at all. But yeah, we've got a couple of...
I was going to say that's just that Guardians bit, isn't it? Where Drax is like, I have sworn to kill Thanos, and he just like, I don't remember your family at all.
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
It's like, oh, that's so brutal.
It's so fucking rough. But here we go. We've got a couple of questions in my chat. I'll start in one. Yeah. Where or what do you guys credit your ethics? So I guess clarify our ethics. We have a few just simple rules in regards to making YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I'm guessing this is typically in reference to like advertisers and things like that. It's just when I set out making YouTube videos, I told myself I will not do anything that I personally find annoying about other YouTube channels. Yeah. And that included the 30 seconds of ads at the start and the disingenuous plugging of stuff that I don't care about. So when I watch YouTube videos and I see a YouTuber just go, hi guys, before we get to the video today, let's leave some likes. Like, fuck off. I hate it so much. It's so disingenuous. It makes me just dislike the person immediately. And I thought, well, if I do that, people will dislike me. There's going to be people out there who think like me and have the same guttural reaction to it. So why would I do it? Even if I know in my head and have seen the statistics that say it does make your videos perform better.
Yeah, and I fall on a slightly different part of the spectrum to you when it comes to that stuff of like, I'm more than willing to, you know, do some kind of sponsorship. But again, like, I don't want to be that person that like shoves it before my own content. And is like, oh, hey, like before you watch any of my video, go watch me talk about this product for 2 minutes. And B, like, I just want to actually give a shit about a product if I'm sponsored by it.
Yeah. And
like, I would not want to, you know, get sponsored by something that I don't believe in or I think is a bad product. And I think there's a lot of people out there on YouTube, like you say, that just completely disingenuous ad read of like, I don't give a shit, give me money.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we mentioned it in the video or after the fact, but there is a video going up at some point in the weeks. Another how not to do business, and it's specifically in regards to the emails we've gotten over the last year or so asking to sponsor the Fiend channel. And at the start of that video, unprompted, I list every sponsor the channel has had from memory because I had a positive interaction with them. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the video or after the fact, but I would bet my left nut that if you asked another YouTuber, could you name the sponsors that have sponsored your channel in the last month? Could you name them and the service that they were providing? They wouldn't be able to do that. Whereas
I presume a lot of them wouldn't be able to, yeah.
Whereas I was able to name all the products they were selling and the name of the individual who has contacted me. Because I care about my channels. And I care about putting out, like, you know, like my channel having a very cohesive theme and like people working within that framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like with other ethics, not regarding like sponsors and stuff. Like I guess just like I don't know particularly other than obviously like growing up with my parents and stuff who would have inspired me so much of like in that regard. But just like the general rule that we both have is just try to be like nice to one another. Don't be a dickhead. Like human rights are important, representation is important, and things like that. And I think it's more like obviously, as I said, like my parents are obviously and my family are an influence on me from just growing up in general. But I think it's just going through life and learning that that is a good thing to do and positivity is a good thing in the world. I think it's just like a lot of life experiences being pulled together.
Yeah, so if the question was not strictly in regards to our ethics regarding advertisements and just more about like, our ethics regards to discussing people, being respectful of people and their individuality and their right to live and love who they want, that's, like you said, from my family and my dad and my mum. My mum used to work with at-risk children and moved on to looking after the elderly, and now she works with terminally ill people and people end-of-life care. My dad used to work with children care, and then he moved on to children with special needs, and now he specifically works with children with special needs who are going through adoption processes. So like they've had to have, have to have a lot of empathy in that job.
Yeah, for sure.
My parent, and the story I've told before is I used to use ableist language in my writing and my day-to-day speak, and then just one day my dad told me, disappointed to son diminish the experience of others with his language, and just hearing that made me go, I'm never going to do that again, and I'm going to try my best not make anyone feel as bad as I felt in that moment, realizing like I just felt so small when my dad said that to me, like, how people feel when I use that language. They feel they feel like they don't matter. And I never want anyone to feel that.
Yeah, 100%. And again, that is just obviously it's in regards to your dad, but it is just life experience of like learning, and you're never done learning. You never like you can always learn more and be better about the way you treat people, and it is just about keeping an open mind and trying your best to acknowledge like, okay, well, if I'm saying something the wrong way, if I'm doing something the wrong way, I would like to improve. And if I am doing something wrong, I'd like to hope that someone would show me the right way to act.
Yeah, and in the same vein, just being online, and generally just being open to criticized in regards to privilege and the language that you use. I can't even count the amount of times creators just throw a shit fit because someone dares to tell them that they made a joke that was or diminish others. Hold your hands up and say sorry. Really easy to say sorry.
It really is, yeah, and that's something that I 100% on board with, and I don't agree with anyone where it's like, oh, it's people, being fragile or political correctness gone wrong and all that bullshit of just excusing people's awful behavior. It's not. It's just about, trying to be the best person you can to others and to yourself.
Not always going to be perfect, but try. No one's going to criticize someone for trying.
Yeah.
And for trying to grow, be a better person. But good question there. It's a topic we've covered a number of times before, but I always like to clarify it.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone's getting annoyed by us clarifying that sort of thing, I don't care.
No.
It's really important to me that people know that I respect people right to live and love who they want, and that we feel that way in regards to our content.
Yeah. 100%.
Any questions in your chat, Lucas?
Yeah, and this is maybe something that like you're better to answer over me, as this is the Karl's Corner podcast, and someone just asks like if we have interests or plans of guests to join the podcast.
My friend Melissa, we wanted to get her on for a while, because she a cosplay model, like got an OnlyFans account, and she's a generally interesting person. Like obviously she's got a lot of life experiences that are unique in a way, because I've not obviously got an insight into that world, and she has, and we bonded over our just mutual dislike of being contacted, and the fact that our lives are public as an extension of our job. And the story that we always like to tell is that she gets weirder messages. I get weirder messages than she does, and she's naked on the internet for a living. Because I followed her on social media, and a fan that got annoyed that I blocked them sent her a ranting, screaming message, calling her every name under the sun. It's like, there are guys who see my butthole who are not as weird to me in conversation as that guy felt entitled to be because you followed me on social media. I just think there's a lot of like funny stuff, like funny stories she could share.
Yeah.
On here, but guest wise, not particularly now.
Yeah, it's fair enough. And like, obviously, last week we had our friend Charlie on, and like, that was just to discuss WandaVision. But it's one of those things as well. Like, bear in mind with the whole COVID thing is that I was planning on and have done like recorded a couple of podcasts for my own channel and gone, oh yeah, well in my head a year ago going, well in a couple of months when I can see people again. That didn't work out very well. But the plan was my friends don't have recording equipment or anything, but I can invite them around to my house to, discuss in person, like whatever I want to do on the podcast. And yeah, it's very difficult to be able to bring people in because a lot of the people I want to discuss things with are just my friends who don't do this for a living, who don't have microphones, who don't have all right webcams or anything like that. So it can be tough.
Same thing for me of people that I would want to get on the podcast, friends. I'm not too comfortable talking to people I don't know. I try to. There's some projects that I'm going to be working on in a couple of weeks. I guess I can talk about it. Fuck it, it's my podcast and I do what I want. But Cracked, one who from their video department has contacted me because they're trying to bring that back and they want me to do a Fiend style video for them. I'm going to be in discussion with them for those guys, but that's going to involve me talking to another person off camera. But maybe a relationship can come from that, like a business one. Maybe there'll be like a quid pro quo type deal there with them appearing on our content and me appearing on theirs, but that's remains to be seen. But there's not much plans for bringing more people on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I will say I did see Cracked video come up on my YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah, like you vaguely mentioned in passing like something about Cracked video, and I was like, oh wow, okay, they've actually put out a YouTube video for the first time in what, like 2 years?
Yeah, they've randomly come back, and I'm going to be working with them on something. As a treat, I guess, or a preview, they're going to be drinking videos.
Oh, okay.
So the idea that I pitched to them is they're going to be fully improvised videos, much in akin to the way Fiend works, but they're going to do the research.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the idea is that they're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to riff on it while drunk, as an example of like as I want to do. The idea is I'm going in with no research, and I'm going to talk about whatever they do and just come up with funny stories based on it. And we did a trial run over Skype with like an article, and we got like we were talking about like the Joker steps from an article, what they did.
Oh yeah.
Like, the article entry was, the Joker steps have been ruined by people going there. And I just riffed on that with him for about 10-15 minutes. And the idea is going to be to create weird scenarios based on it so they can get their video editing team to create like Photoshops and like dumb video edits and things like that.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Which I was like, that's perfect. That's what we do. And that culminated in us talking about, people going to the top of the steps and just like Ginyu Force posing at the top. There's like other people coming, like the Jets and the Sharks, just clicking, just like fucking 300. And then you can just edit that in a video and that'd be fun. But yeah, it remains to be seen how well we can do with that.
Yeah,
I am excited for it.
Stuff.
I want to get paid to drink.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Of like, people have said like, oh man, the Fiend videos haven't had like drinking videos in a long time. It's like, yeah, because we're all like sat there recording at 1:00 in the afternoon from our own bedrooms. Like, I'd love to be able to get back to the office or back to your flat or whatever and do drinking videos then, but it feels weird doing it like a Monday morning or like early afternoon when I've got work to do afterwards, and like just okay, let's have a random drink to my computer screen when we're not even doing it via video.
Yeah,
it's literally just audio, so it feels so strange.
Yeah, but that's going to be the idea for that one. Pour myself a pint and then riff on stuff and create a bunch of dumb Photoshops. Hope it works out well. That trial run went great.
Yeah, it sounds like A, an interesting thing to do, and B, something fitting for the format that you already have.
Yeah, and the cross promotion. I think Cracked has like a couple of million subscribers, but because they've not updated in so long, they've mostly lapsed. So the idea will be buying our two brands. And it's really weird to think now that I am treated as an equal to the giant fucking monolithic website that is the literal start of my career. And now you fast
it's
forward
very
10
weird
years.
that it's gone full circle of like you being a writer on Crack to now coming back to like Crack approaching you.
Yeah, I approached
work with them.
I approached them to ask if I could write articles for them, and now they're approaching me asking me to make videos. Very strange, but hey ho, that's the world we live in. Do you know what that's about? That's just having a positive attitude.
Yeah,
having a positive attitude and doing your best.
Hell yeah.
Does Karl sound quieter than Luke? This is just my speaking voice when I'm not on.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and like I generally just have a louder natural speaking voice than you do.
Yeah, I'm just more on in videos. I tend to be a bit more calm and collected when we do.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for that. What specific thing did you learn skill-wise from each of your past jobs? Too many count.
Yeah.
Well, I had very low-paying menial jobs. Nothing too crazy. I worked in a bar, worked in a restaurant, cleaner. A couple of years, glass collecting, worked race courses. There's a bunch of stuff I learned, but none of it is that impressive to me. I guess there's a couple of little things. Like I know how to set a table properly. I fold napkins. I know the correct way to open champagne without making it pop. Pull a pint.
Yeah, and it's like again similar things with me for the most part. Yeah, I managed to carry 7 plates of Nando's food to one table at once.
Ah, there we go.
Managed that one. But yeah, like honestly, the job where I feel like I've learned the most valuable skills is, working with you on Fat Fiend because I learn essentially everything. Either, doing the podcast, I pretty much learn randomly by myself of just like trying to pick it up over time, and then with the Fat Fiend videos, like getting a lot of advice from Nisha and like Brad chipping in to help as well, and just like getting advice and learning how to actually video edit and edit audio and just try kind of like improve myself over time, just bit by bit. But that fact that 2 years ago I didn't know how to edit a video, I didn't know how to edit a green screen, and now I can. So I guess that this job is probably the thing that has taught me what I would class as like more valuable skills than just, as you say, like being able to pull a pint.
Yeah, well, theoretically, not theoretically, but hopefully this is what myself and you are going to be doing for the rest of our lives in some shape, way, or form.
I mean, I would hope so, yeah.
I'd like to think,
as you say, in some shape, way, or form, like whether that's in 10 years we're doing something different but of the same vein, we don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think now I've built up enough of an audience where I could go and do something else and still make it worthwhile money-wise, but that remains to be seen. We'll see that out of the big wangers. The idea to open a bar is gone now. I'm not fucking opening a bar in this economy.
It's already a risky enough thing, let alone after the past 15 years having 2 economic crashes.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's not a good thing. But Lucas, to end on, any last questions in your chat?
No, I've not got any more questions in my chat. From
what people doing? People doing like they know this. People should know the rules by now. It's 1 in, 1 out. So I guess any last questions in my chat then before we head off? Well, this is great for the audio listeners because they don't know it's going to, unless they look at the phone. Well, how to do that? If you look at your phone to know it's going to end, that's boring. Don't do that. Don't ruin it for yourself. Don't ruin the surprise because it could end at any point.
It could, and that's the thing is most of the time as well for the audio version, I cut out us at the end, like just winding down and saying that we're going to be playing later and whatnot. So it can just like kind of end at bye.
Quite an abrupt point, which I think it's going to do now for the podcast listeners.
Yeah,
on Spotify. But yeah, thank you for listening, everyone at home.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'll stop that for the thing. I'll get that exported now. And then for people watching, oh man, I think there must be a delay because now I'm starting to get like a filtration of questions in.
Well, you missed your mark. Sorry.
They did, yeah. So we're still going to be live for a couple of minutes now, just as we both do our wind down, though, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
This is the bonus for people who watch on these. I'll export this now. It's MP3, yes. I'm on the
MP3, please, yeah.
On the other PC. Podcast. It's St. Paddy's Day today as well.
Is it?
Yeah, we never mentioned it. No one can go out, can they?
No. What are you doing for St. Paddy's Day while I'm sitting at home doing the usual?
That's the one. Podcast, March 17th. MP3 for you. Perfect.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Karl, we will be back, in a couple of hours around 11 o'clock?
Yeah, that's so. For people still in chat right now, the real OGs, like the big dick gangsters who stuck with us, we will be back in 2 hours-ish. We're going to be playing Borderlands.
About 2 hours 15 from now, so 11 p.m. GMT.
11 p.m. GMT, we're playing some Borderlands. So go get yourself a drink, a sandwich, settle in if you're in England. It's like